So I'll show you a couple of things to do with the on-demand desktop, because that's one of the most important things that you can do. That's one of the most important things you can learn about using on the Cosmos system. So let me share my screen. Where's the share screen button? Ah, there it is. System window, share, Cosmos SimLink, share. All right, so you see my big desktop here.
Yep.
So what's nice about LUNARC that makes it kind of unique is that we have these on-demand applications. They're all in this applications menu, and the ones that have this capability are prefixed with this applications dash. So you have the terminals, you have the CPU and 2 GPU terminals. And what makes these special is that these run on the back end. These are, so what I'll pull up here is I'll just pull up this Desktop on Demand page first. And so what Desktop on Demand does, it provides an interactive environment for submitting programs to Slurm without using a shell script and without going through the terminal. You can use a terminal, but you don't have to. A terminal is one of the options that you can run with this on demand, in fact. So most of the time what you'll be seeing when you click on these applications, so I'll go down to Python and I'll start with Spider, which is my personal favorite. So what you'll see when I click this is that this window here pops up, and this is the GFX launcher or graphics launcher, which was developed in-house by our department head. And this is an interface for setting the most of the parameters that you would normally use that you would normally set in a batch script. So I'll start off by setting this at 60 minutes just to give us a nice long buffer. I am on project 768. You would be on 7-80. I'm an instructor, and that's because I'm one of the instructors and you're one of the students. Everything else looks pretty good. If you wanted to fiddle around with some of these other parameters, like the job name or the task per node, if you're comfortable, if you know what those are or how those would interact with your application, you can fiddle with those. But if you don't know what you're doing, I'd recommend just leaving them as they are. So I will, since all that is set, now I'll just click Start. And it comes up green when it starts running. If it stays gray for a while, it just means you're waiting in the queue. And once the application comes up, the window that was used to launch it stays put so that you can monitor your time. So this usage bar here, the percentage shows you how much time that you've used. So I've pulled up the old add to example here. Actually, I'll close this and I will open one of the other examples. So I'll go to exercises, Python. Let's see, what's an easy one to add? Let's try this. Just add list here. Open. So this is, if I run this in this window, because this is on Spider, this will be running on the compute nodes, or because I opened this with as an on-demand application with Desktop on Demand. This whole program is running on the compute nodes. You don't have to worry about running on the front end this way. This probably will run a bit slow because I only picked one process, but we'll see what happens when I run this. And did you also notice that, I hope everyone also noticed that you didn't have to preload anything at a terminal. Everything that you need is pulled in. So let's see what this does. Ah, okay. So let me see. I may end up having to start this from a terminal then. Okay, path of the CUDA file shared directory. All right, maybe this was not the good one to start with. Let me close this and open exercises, Python. So let's see, what did we just have open? Add list. Let's open the add to just for just to show you that this will actually work. So if I click this little run, you see in the IPython console down here, I can just go ahead and enter the first number, say 18. 789 is the second number, and it makes the addition. And now look up here, you've got a nice variable explorer. And that's, and another thing you can do is, let's see, I will close this and I'm going to show you something with Matplotlib, because this is where Spider really shines. It's is the ability to work with the graphics in a GUI and then import them. Import NumPy as NP. Let's say x equals numpy.arange 1, 20, 0.5. Y equals, I don't know, numpy.cosine of x divided by pi. I don't know. I'm just running a random function here. Now let's see what that looks like. Oops. Plot. X comma Y. And I'll make it a blue line. Oh, right, I didn't as plot. Okay, and then plot.show. Now if let's see, so I'm going to save this as, I'm going to save this in documents. I'm going to put it in this Python exercises. I'm going to put it in the exercises folder. So then I am going to run this. And there you go. It pops up so initially, like if you're running Spider for the first time, what might happen is that instead of seeing this, you might get the window in line down here in the IPython console. The way that you change that is you go up under Tools, Preferences, and then you go down to, where was it? Okay, so you go to IPython console and then go to this graphics tab. And then you change the backend from inline to automatic, or you can pick one of these other two. Automatic is usually fine. You can also adjust the default size of the images. So like resolution 72 is not very good. I usually go to something like 120. Okay. So let me close this and run it again. This little green arrow up here is the run. So that's nice. And now you can work in, now you can do other things to tune it. Like you pull up these figure options here. I didn't add an X or Y label, so I can add them now. Say X and Y, apply. Now they've got letters. For the curves, I can change the color. Let's say I want purple. Okay, apply. And there we go. Now, if there were markers, I could decide to add markers if I wanted to. So let me see, let me pick, let me try an X. Apply. There, now we've got X's all along our curve. So you can do lots of things to tune your plot. And you can also use this thing with the sliders. You can use this to adjust the top, bottom, left, and right margins. And these H space and W space parameters can be used to adjust the spacing between plots if you've got multiple ones on the same plot. So like, I'm gonna do this. See how the plot is stretching up and to the right. So this is really nice when when you have to work with figures, because then you can tune everything in a way that you cannot do in Jupyter Lab. Any questions so far? Let me see if let me pull up the comments. All right, I don't see any raised hands or questions, so I will move on. It is, let's see, we're at the 15-minute mark, so I've got 15 minutes to go. I'm going to close this now and show you Jupyter, because I imagine it's probably what more of you are used to using than Spider, I imagine. Is that a fair assessment, or are you used to both of them? So I'm going to go back down. Yep. So I'm going to go back down to Applications Python. And I'm going to pick Jupyter Lab because Jupyter Notebook, it still works, but there is talk in the Python community of slowly folding that into Jupyter Lab. So probably best to just go with Jupyter Lab. And there again, we get the GFX launcher. And one thing that I didn't necessarily set the first time, or show the first time, was, yeah, once you start this, and I will go ahead and set the, oh, right. Since I closed that, it did stop it automatically. It doesn't, if you're running something through through Desktop on Demand and this, the GFX launcher window that starts it, it doesn't always stop the job automatically if you close the window. So sometimes what you'll see is still see this this box open, and the stop button will be highlighted and able to stop your job. And it's recommended that you do if you still have time left in your wall time, because then that frees up the time for other people. So I don't have to do that, so I'm just going to close this. And now I'm going to adjust some settings for wall time. Again, I got to change my, got to change the project ID. I'm leaving that on 30 minutes. Job settings. Python modules. Oh yeah, here we go. This is what I could have, this is something that I should have shown you when I, this is what I should have shown you before I tried running that add list in Spider. So I can look for, for instance, it looked for CUDA. And I can add that if I want. Or in this case, I think In this case, what I'm going to add is, what do I want to add? I'm going to add pandas. That's capital letters. I guess that's built in. Let me add Seaborn then. All right. So select that. And I can say that. I can say okay. And now those modules are added. And I can when I start Jupyter, then I'll be able to load them. And what? Let me see. Okay. Start. Okay, that's interesting. Let's try bumping that up. I'm on 768. Let me try the LU test. Huh. This worked the other day. Okay, let me try, okay, let me go back down to 1. Go under job settings, select modules, and clear these. Let me check by bundle. Select. Okay. And start. It might have just not liked the see if this runs, it may have just not liked the Seaborn app because it's more graphical. Someone have a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
You can tinker with the job settings, but when I try to test it, everything is grayed out.
Oh, when you go to like this gear icon or the job settings?
The job settings where I could basically load different modules as well.
Okay, and are you trying to open Jupyter Lab as well?
Yes.
Okay. Huh. I wonder if this is glitching from too many people.
Cool.
That would be
Uh,
weird because we had plenty of room for everyone. Or we thought we did. This is weird. I swear we tested this stuff. All of us had been testing these things for the best part of the last week, and we did not have these issues until we started trying to teach today. It's like it's cursed.
so it starts up for me without any issues, but I can basically not modify anything.
Hmm. Huh. And let me close this. Let me see what I get if I do Jupyter Notebook instead. Did you select the right job? 4-80?
Yes.
Okay, because we're on different, okay, and I still have the job settings menu. So I'm gonna get rid of Anaconda 3 and type SciPy bundle. So that's misspelled. like that. Select modules. Okay. Start. Let's see if this does the same thing as it did before. Wow, my computer is like frying. So that might be another issue, is that my computer might be overheating because I could not plug in my webcam and my laptop cooler at the same time. So if this bar, sorry, let me use my cursor. If this box here stays gray, that means you're kind of waiting in the queue. Because this GFX launcher menu is submitting your job. Running this GUI is a job, and it's being submitted like every other job to the Slurm queue. For things that say CPU next to them, you're allowed to run with a wall time of greater than the 2 days that is sort of advertised as the default limit for these on-demand applications. But again, it has to be one of these CPU only partitions, because otherwise, because the GPU partitions are heavily oversubscribed, and there are not very many of them. We connect to notebook. All right. Okay, I don't know why this is freezing like this. Let me all right, what I'm going to do instead then is I'm going to go to General. I'm going to go to this GPU terminal and see if I can launch this. Because if I can launch this, then I can run Jupyter Lab with from the command line. So the reason I picked the Intel 32 core instead of one of the AMD 48 cores is that there are more of these for GPUs. So 16 tasks per node and 768 more. All right, I can't. This is different. All right, so I'm going to start. It says waiting for a session to start. This might take a while. It may just be that there's too much traffic right now. Or somebody's draining the front end. Actually, that is something I could look at, HTOP. Well, so this is Cosmos 2. So the front end is okay. It's not being drained. No, it's not, and this isn't monitoring that. Never mind. Let's see. These are all the. Somebody's. I think I know what's happening. Yeah. Serial offender. Elsewhere node. Memory full node. Okay. Well, this is really frustrating. I'm sorry for all of this. Does anyone have any other questions about, or questions, comments, or concerns while we're waiting for something to happen? Oops, that's not what I'm supposed to do. No, go away. So I guess that's a no. Don't hear anyone. All right, let me see if this will run. Normally, I would strongly discourage running JupyterLab on the front end, but this is just to show that it, whoops, forgot. No, ML. So you'd have to run, let's see, what do I have loaded? Okay, so I've already got a lot loaded. Now Spider, Jupyter. Already got that loaded. JupyterLab. What I should have done is ML avail JupyterLab. Okay, so let me load that and try to run it. All right, so it does run. If you can get a terminal to run, it will run. So you can use this to navigate. I've got a very quick code demo in here where I showed some like hello world, a little NumPy, a little bit of pandas. Let's just run this whole thing and see if it all runs. So that runs. There you can do some pandas work with this, and then oops, my light turns off. And then so with Matplotlib, typically if you import Matplotlib in Jupyter, it will plot everything in line like this. Oops, I didn't run that line. Okay, so the other thing I forgot to do was load Matplotlib before I loaded this, but that's okay. We're out of time anyway. So I close this and close this window because it's I don't actually want to be running JupyterLab on the front end. We'll kill that. Anyway, sorry about not the on-demand applications not running. I don't know why they were not cooperating today, because they all worked fine as recently as yesterday. Let me leave this on the default settings and see if it'll start. Okay, so maybe it had something to do with not loading Anaconda, which is a bit of a problem now because once you're in JupyterLab, you can't really import that stuff. What I'm going to try and do instead is stop this, go back to job settings, select modules. Anaconda 3. Select. Pandas. Oops, I always. How do I add to this? PyPy bundle. Okay. And now we try this again. Yay! All right, so let's see if this runs. Oops, that's a different program. So I'm gonna run this code demo one more time. So pandas. All right, I need to load NumPy. So I loaded pandas. Now this data frame is defined. I did not add Matplotlib again, but one thing that you can do with pandas is you can do ef.plot. And all right, I need to, yeah. So pandas, one thing that's nice about pandas is that you don't actually have to import Matplotlib to plot stuff. It does help a lot, but you can plot with just pandas by calling the right plotting modules off of it. Okay. Any questions or comments? So it looks like JupyterLab does depend on Anaconda 3, and I was mistaken in the way that I was using or adding the modules with the module search. So I apologize for that. But now you know for certain applications where this is relevant, you will have a job settings window, and you can use that to add a semicolon separated list of modules. And generally, once you add one, you can type in the names of the others without loading a version number, and it will pick whichever one is compatible. So you only need the version number for like one of these modules. And you can also call a custom content environment if you've got one, and you can call it by name. So let's see if I've got one. I've got one called TensorFlow, but I'm not going to show that right now because we're out of time. Brigitte or Richelle, should I cut it off here, or are we going on break, or what? Or
yeah, we in the Slack behind your back, more or less, we said, well, let's move the schedule 10 minutes to the future.
We have moved the schedule, yeah.
So
Okay.
then it's a break until 3.
All right. In that case, I will close this, stop this, and stop sharing. And I hope this was enlightening. and we'll see you at 3.